All right, so now being 6 o'clock, I'll call the April 30th meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. This meeting is being recorded by Area 58 for YouTube and Cablecast presentation. This video is not to be considered an official public record. All right, so we are meeting tonight with member of Finance Committee, Barbara Gomez, the town moderator, to go over the warrants to prepare, but Brian Wick is not here yet. So do you want to move on to, you want to do Atwood? Do you have time to do that?
Yep.
Okay, all right, so.
So just a brief update. We talked about having received a purchase and sale agreement last Monday, and the board authorized me to go to town council. So I spoke with Jonathan Eichman, who's the fellow who'll be taking care of this. He's the one that wrote to the Atwood family when we had the first purchase and sale. He feels like this is a bona fide purchase and sale agreement, and he feels like the clock has started. So we're in the midst of the 120-day clock, which I think will be starting April 11th. We lost a few days because of some follow-up at the post office, but we still have about 100 days to go. Okay. One good piece in this that I wasn't aware of is Jonathan said that within that 120 days, we have the chance to exercise our option if we want. If we do that, there are then 90 days after that to actually raise the fund and do the closing. So we have quite a bit of time to work on this. He reminded me that along the way, if we did move forward, we need a public hearing. I think we'd probably end up with more than one public hearing along the way. Right. And certainly if we got to the place of using town funds or CPA funds to do this, we'd need a special town meeting along the way. So in the interim, there have been some conversations with Wildlands Trust, with Cape Cod Compact. I've been in touch with Community Preservation Coalition, and we're really just collecting ideas on the options that might be available to us to try to raise $800,000. And absolutely no decisions are made. It's a complex thing. Whether we can get this done or not isn't clear. There's been quite a bit of discussions amongst CPC members, open space, planning, ag, as to whether there's a way to do this with some public-private partnership. And so that's what we're working on. There's a sort of a working committee that's will be meeting tomorrow. CPC meets tomorrow night explicitly to begin to explore this and see what's available for us. So we're in kind of the fun stage of trying to dream up a way to make this happen, and I think there's a fair amount of momentum or desire to try to make this happen, and time will tell.
So the working committee meeting is this week?
Yeah.
Wednesday?
That's actually tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. Okay. And that's just, it's not a posted meeting because there's no quorums of any boards?
It's an informal working committee, CPC members, open space, maybe a planning board member, an ag person.
Okay. What would be available in CPC funds?
Existing funds, I think after the projects we have going and assuming the warrant article on this year's annual town meeting for the old townhouse repair, assuming all that, I think there'd still be about $450,000. CPA money can be bonded out into the future, but of course, if at all possible, we don't want to deplete it all at once. And roughly, we take in about $100,000 a year between the tax revenues and the state match.
Okay. And the CPC, is that just the money that would be available for this type of project, or is that everything? Because isn't part of it earmarked for different,
Yeah, there are a couple cubby holes. There's some of it in public housing or housing. There's some of it in recreation. The hope is if we did this project with CPA funds, that it would be multi-use, that housing potentially, certainly recreation, certainly open space. The only part of CPA funding that wouldn't be there is historic preservation.
okay.
Unless we can find some stone walls that we can, tongue-in-cheek there.
Okay. All right.
Is it CPA money or CPC money?
It's CPA money overseen by CPC.
Okay. Question, Amy?
Yeah, did I hear you say that the CPA has 450,000 that we could put towards that in theory? Is that what I heard you say?
You did.
Okay, thank
You
you.
heard me say that.
Thanks.
You also heard me say we could bond it. I mean, we could theoretically buy the whole thing. I wouldn't recommend that. I don't think I'd be in favor of it. It's probably too much on one property, and there are a lot of other needs, but that's a capability that's there.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Becky?
Oh, yeah, sorry, that was me thinking.
Okay.
But, well, I just want to get touched down on the historical part of the whole puzzle. You know, it has really rich historical value. I mean, I've been researching for a long time.
I totally agree. On the other hand, the legislation that enacted CPA is pretty clear that historic is buildings.
Isn't it recognized historic?
Has to be building.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, all the other categories are checked off, and all you need's one, and we probably have three.
Which is good. Anybody else have a question? Okay. Oh, Howard, go ahead.
Yeah, what was the total on the offer?
800,000.
800,000.
So more to come. This is going to be
A lot
something
more
we're
to
going to be
come.
talking about on probably just about every meeting.
So the registered survey plan that was sent for the PNS, was that a different plan or was that the same plan?
The same plan as last time?
Yeah, as RICO.
I don't know if they drew the subdivision in last time. The plan we have now, the active one before us, shows dividing the land on Prospect Street into 4 or 5 house lots. There's a little bit of question of whether that might be overly generous, and there may be a vernal pool in there that would be a problem. And I have a feeling that ultimately there's space for 3 or 4 house lots.
Yeah, I would suggest, because I think I know that area pretty well, and I don't agree with the wetland delineations that were put out there. So I would suggest, having many reviews.
Okay.
Yeah, we certainly have shared the PNS, the plot plan with open space, with planning, and with a few others. I mean, just to expand it a little bit, we ended up creating Churchill Park and Cato's Ridge Park for a net cost to the town of $25,000. We did a lot of it by raising $70,000 to build the boardwalk in private funding, and the real joy of that project, between just being beautiful park and is the degree to which people buying planks for $35 each just cemented their interest in the place. And I would love to dream that if we could pull this off, that it might be the combination of CPA funds, possibly private investors, but maybe townspeople that wanted to contribute too, that a piece of it could be fundraising. I think that's a beautiful model for this town in general. It was a good model for Churchill Park and Cato's Ridge. I think it could be a successful model for this project, and particularly going forward, being a town of moderate means and yet a town that would like to preserve space. It's a nice model to make it happen. I love that model, and I hope we can keep creating that kind of thing. So the public-private partnership is a really important piece in this. I mean, it's just a lot of work to make it happen and a lot of legal details to make it happen, and we're on it.
But we're starting it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, very good. So there'll be more to come. So
More
that's
to
really
come.
it for today. but it's probably going to be on just about every agenda we have with updates as they come in.
Maybe we'll be a little quiet for a little while, but if anybody has ideas, suggestions, I think we're absolutely willing to hear them along the way.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, this is the fun piece that we just get to noodle this a little. I mean, it's pretty easy for people to get a little worried. I've had a couple people say to me this week, I heard the town's going to put 40B in. And I, before people get worried.
You want to elaborate on that?
Pardon?
Maybe we should.
No, I don't think we should elaborate.
Well, then, people should know if it's going down.
It's not going down.
Okay, so there you go.
It's not going down. I mean, there may be an affordable housing concept, maybe some of those house lots would be affordable homes, but there's not a large-scale 40B.
All right, well,
We're just
that's good to
spitballing
know.
at this point,
That's good, that
just
relaxes
spitballing.
people.
Yeah, so nothing big.
So it's the fun stage when we can spitball, and please when we know where we think we'd like to head, we'll let everybody know right away.
Absolutely.
We don't need a lot of getting worried ahead of time. You can get worried after we come up with something.
Right, as things get together, but, yeah, it's a ways off.
Would you like this on 5/7?
Why don't we, no, because I'm not sure if we're meeting 5/7, because I think I'm not going to be around. So why don't we hold off?
Okay.
Okay, all right, very good. So that's all we've got for Atwood. We'll keep it on the agenda. All right, so next we've got talking about town meetings. So Brian, thank you for coming in with us. So do we want to start with the annual or the special? Your choice.
Special, it's
The
quick.
special, okay.
Is it all part of the stuff?
I feel like we can accomplish
I
it.
don't think I got that.
It's the paper clip.
The little one.
See the paper clip and, see that stack that John
Oh.
has? He has one too.
This?
Yep.
Oh,
Okay. All right. So,
Do you need Tara or no?
do we need Tara?
She was on the email.
I put her in just to keep her in the loop.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so Article 1 in the special. To see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money from the available funds to add to the amounts appropriated pursuant to May 17, 2017 annual town meeting, Article 24, police station, and said funds are to be expended by the Plympton Public Safety Building Committee and the Board of Selectmen as necessary to complete the project as set forth in Article 24 or take any other action relative thereto. So who's going to make the motion?
These are the
So it looks like we're gonna
I'm
be-
glad to make the motion. So we're figuring out tonight who's making the
Who's
motion,
making the
and then
motions?
who's speaking? Are we going that far, speaking,
Who's going to be speaking on?
advocating?
Yes, who's
Yeah.
going to be advocating? Okay.
So I'm glad to make the motion. I think probably a member of the Public Safety Building should actually
I think it's
advocate
probably going to
for.
be Colleen.
And actually, it brings up a question that I'd like to bring up to you guys. Our owner's project manager wondered if he should come to the meeting or not to speak to this issue, and I kind of felt like he should. We got a year of this going, and it might be nice for town meeting to get to meet him a little bit.
You know what? It might be nice for him even to give a little report as to where we are.
And actually, he asked about that, and I wanted to bring that up as well.
All
And, he's a fairly dynamic speaker, and I'd love for the townspeople to see who's guiding us through
Okay.
this project.
So we'll have Dan, it's Dan that's going to be there, right? Dan
Yeah,
Plata?
yeah.
So Dan will kind of give a report as to
I think
the
he could give
status?
a report of the whole thing. That would
Right.
be an initial reports, Brian, before,
Article 1.
yeah. I mean, I'd like him to speak to Article 1, but first to have a Public Safety Building Committee member sort of introduce why it's there, then maybe Dan to speak to it a little further. Don't we have reports, though,
That
at the
is,
beginning?
Article 1 in the annual is to
okay,
hear
perfect.
reports. So why
Okay,
don't we
great.
put him in Article 1, which will
Yep.
be before the special.
Yep,
He
perfect.
can give us an update as to where we are with the project, and then if we need him to speak on Article 1 in the special, then
Perfect.
we'll have.
Good,
Perfect.
okay.
So Dan would speak in Article 1.
Dan will speak, and I believe that's probably, at this time, the only report we're going to have, that we're going to hear under Article 1 will be from Dan Plata.
Okay.
To talk about the public safety building.
So Mark, you make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I hope Colleen, who's chair of the committee, would speak first, and then Dan would speak.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so Mark, you're going to do Article 1. All right, so Article 2. To see if the town will vote to accept the provisions of MGL laws, Chapter 40, Section 13E, which allows the establishment of an appropriation or transfer of money to a reserve fund to be utilized in the upcoming fiscal years to pay without further appropriation unanticipated or unbudgeted costs of special education, out-of-district tuition or transportation, or take any other action relative thereto. And then there's a little explanation under the article. So I would imagine this would be, the school committee would make this motion, so it's probably going to be John Williamson.
Nate, you folks didn't vote on this?
We didn't vote on the article to establish, we voted on the next
funding.
article to transfer the funding.
Okay.
All right, so then Article 3 in the special is to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $40,000 from the May 17, 2017 annual town meeting, Article 4, budget line 705, special education, to fund the special needs reserve fund created pursuant to Article 2 of the special town meeting, or take any other action relative thereto. So this is the funding mechanism for the article, or the account that was just created. So I would imagine that John would be making the motions for this as well.
Yep.
Article 4, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $70,000 from the May 17, 2017 annual town meeting, Article 4, budget line 710, vocational education, to the May 17, 2017 annual town meeting, Article 4, budget line 700, elementary school costs to pay for the purchase, installation, and any other related costs of a new generator for the Dennett Elementary School, or take any other action relative thereto. So I would imagine this would be John Williamson too. So this is just moving school money to pay for the generator that we learned was not functioning after the storm. All right, Article 5, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $25,000 from the May 17, 2017 annual town meeting, Article 4, budget line 710, vocational education, to be added to that appropriated under Article 10 of the May 14, 2014 annual town meeting for engineering services, equipment, and installation of a drinking water treatment system for the Dennett Elementary School, or take any other action relative thereto. So John again. All right, Article 6, to see if the town will fund to transfer from the Silver Lake Regional School District E&D Fund the sum of $50,000 to be used by the Silver Lake Regional School Committee to defray the cost of emergency repairs, including removal of lights and poles on, what is that, Sirico Field, replacement of the flow box at the wastewater treatment plant, and repair of storm drains in critical condition, or take any other action relative thereto. So this would be, I would imagine Maureen Springer would be making this
Either Jason.
motion, or Jason? Okay. So Maureen or Jason. All right, Article 7, see if the town will vote to amend the vote taken pursuant to the May 18, 2016 annual town meeting, Article 11, to remove the federal grant contingency and authorize the use of the $16,800 appropriated therein to purchase a new SCBA, I think they call those scuba air packs, for firefighting operations, or take any other action relative thereto. So this article was originally connected to a federal grant that the town never received. There are no funds involved in this vote, just a transfer of usage.
I'll make the motion on this.
Okay, so John, you'll take that one. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $25,000 to pay the costs relating to roadside damage due to winter storms, or take any other action relative thereto. Is Jim going to be making this motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who did you say?
Jim, okay.
Jim, okay.
Article 9, to see if the town will vote to
Where's
transfer.
money coming from?
The money would be coming from,
The $25,000?
yes,
Is coming from.
Group health.
Covered group health line.
so it's being moved from group health, Howard. All right, Article 9, to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money to pay unpaid bills for a prior fiscal year or take any other action relative thereto. So this will be us.
I'll make those,
Okay.
unless you want.
Doesn't matter, you can make that one, John. Okay, and this is a bill for $693.90.
3 bills.
Oh, there's 3 bills.
There's 3 bills totaling
Yeah.
$693.
Okay, so for 3 bills for under $700. Okay. And that's being transferred from the town coordinator, town administrator budget line. All right, Article 10, to see if the town will transfer from available funds the sum of $20,000 to the OPEB account or take any other action relative thereto. Are you going to do this one too, John?
Sure.
Okay. And this is coming from, same line, town coordinator, town administrator. All right, Article 11, to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money to be added to building and land article or take any other action relative thereto. So this
This
is,
is our emergency article, which in case we have something go wrong in the townhouse, so we don't.
which we've used before for
And where's it coming from, Bob?
This
town
one is coming
coordinator,
from
town
the
administrator.
coordinator.
Okay, so it's $10,000.
Yeah, because of the administrator's late start in the fiscal year, there's some funding there.
Okay, so that
Who's doing that one?
I'll do that.
John's gonna do that one. So that's it for the special.
Unless you want to, it makes it easier for the moderator to have one person
It
to look
does.
to.
It does. And it keeps things moving. So John will make all of those motions for the board. Okay, so let's move into the annual. So under Article 1, the town meeting would need to vote to let Dan speak, right? Because he's a non-resident?
Yeah.
We'll do that. I'll add that to the list of names.
Right.
when I
Okay,
do.
Yeah.
perfect. All right, so Article 1, we'll be hearing a report from Dan Pilata, but I don't know at this time that we've heard anyone else express any interest in a report, okay? Article 2, to see if the town will vote to authorize the town treasurer to enter into compensating balance agreements. These are the usual articles that we make.
That'd be Colleen.
Okay, so Colleen will make that one, Colleen Mann. All right, so that's gonna be Colleen. All right.
Each department will have a copy of the motion, all typed out.
Perfect. Thank you, Barbara. Okay, Article 3, this is wage and personnel classification. So is this gonna be, this will be wage and personnel that's gonna be making that motion? So that's probably gonna be Alan?
I assume, yeah.
Okay. All right, Article 4, to see if the town will fix the compensation of
Before you jump-
elected officials.
Has there been any background on Article you that I might need to know about?
On Article 3, we expect that they're going to make this motion with the addition of a firefighter part-time position with a pay range of $16 to $20 per hour. After Wage and Personnel Board voted on the new classification chart that appears in Article 3, it was brought to their attention that a few years ago, the former fire chief had the basic firefighter position removed from the classification chart. I guess that was intentional, but they want to add it back in. So the motion that's on the town accountant sheet for us, it includes with that addition of that position back in, and the Wage and Personnel Board is going to schedule a meeting between now and town meeting, just to approve, like, adding that back onto the chart.
It doesn't impact finance?
No, it's just simply establishing the position as a placeholder should anybody be hired to fill it at some point.
So it would be an entry level.
It'd be an entry level. Right now, they provide for firefighter positions, like that have the EMT certification or paramedic certification, but they have nothing for just a call firefighter who's not an EMT or any kind of EMS certification.
Okay.
So it's just reestablishing back in. It kind of ties in with some of the recommendations in the MRI report about like building up our call status. So if we had people who wanted to serve just as a call firefighter and they don't have an EMS background, we didn't want to preclude those people from applying and have nowhere to assign them.
Perfect. Okay, so that's Article 3. And then Article 4, to see if the town will fix the compensation of elected officials. So that's going to be us.
That's the budget,
That's
so
the budget.
that's when we go down line item by line item.
Okay, so we don't, do we need to make the motion?
Or FinCom?
We can make it, I'll make it.
All right, so John will make the motion for Article 4.
Usually the moderator reads this.
Section by section.
Yeah, and then says, we're going to go through the budget line item by line item, and we do it that way.
Okay, so there's really no need
No.
to make a
There's no
motion?
need for a
No,
motion to go in.
no.
Okay, into
Yeah.
Article 4. Okay, perfect.
There are 3 lines that will be held for changes in sourcing, and that's all.
Sure.
Everybody's got the motion.
Yep, okay.
All right,
You've got them too.
Okay.
It's the single sheet that's in the packet.
perfect. Okay, so Article 5, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $32,000 to conduct financial audits for fiscal 2019 or take any other action relative thereto. So Colleen will make that motion? Okay. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to accept and expend such sums of money allotted or to be allotted. So this is Chapter 90, so that's going to be Jim?
Yep.
And the amount is now 169,340 even.
Okay.
And it's in the motion, so it's okay.
Perfect. All right, Article 7, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $250,000 for road construction and resurfacing, including the payment of costs incidental or related to or take any other action relative thereto. So Jim will be making the motion, and
Source is free cash.
free cash. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to appropriate or reserve from the community preservation fiscal year 2019 estimated annual revenues in the amount recommended by the Community Preservation Committee. These are your bookkeeping articles? Okay, so are you making those motions or somebody else from CPC?
Yeah, I'll make that motion and speak to it. And actually, I'd like to make the next one and then hand it to, the next one, I don't, do you want to speak to the?
Sure.
So maybe, or why don't you go ahead and make the motion and then
I'll
speak?
make the motion on 9 then.
Right.
Okay.
You're making 8, Mark?
We're doing 8?
No, John can make the motion and then speak to it.
Well, you're doing 8.
You're doing
though,
8.
right?
I'm doing
Mark's
8.
doing 8.
Yeah.
John's going to do 9. And this is the CPC project for the restoration of the old townhouse. So John, you're going to take that one.
Yes.
All right. So Article 10, to see if the town will vote to approve $20,000 each as the spending limit for the Recreation Commission and tax title revolving funds. So are these the ones that, that we do every year?
Yes.
The thing is, when we did it last year, it became part of the bylaw, but the law reads that we have to establish the spending limit annually. So
Okay.
that's the only part of this we have to do.
Okay.
And that's what the spending limit has been all along, is 20,000.
So I'll make this.
Okay, so it's kind of a bookkeeping?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll do that.
John's going to do that. All right, Article 11, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $2,000 for the purpose of preparing fiscal 2019 interim year real property valuation of the town. So that's going to be the Board of Assessors?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not sure which one, maybe
No.
Ethan? Ethan?
John.
Jocelyn is
That's what I was told.
Okay.
chair, so I don't know, but she's usually not
Ethan?
there.
Okay, so a member of the Board of Assessors, Ethan or Jocelyn. All right, Article 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $2,500 for the purpose of preparing the fiscal 2022 centennial real property valuation of the town. So that was another Board of Assessors article. So Ethan, Jocelyn, or Dick, any of those. So that's 12. 13, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $1,500 for the purpose of hiring a consultant for title and map research of owner and location of unknown parcels. So this is also Board of
Yes.
Assessors?
And the source for all 3 of them will be free cash if anything.
Okay, so these are all free cash, which we'll say in the motion.
Yep.
Okay. All right, Article 14, to see if the town will vote to amend the Plympton zoning bylaws. So this is what our bylaw review committee has been working on diligently for the last year, at least.
Year and a half.
And so,
Probably
who wants
Alan.
to recommend it?
It's a, huh?
It's
Mark,
Board
you
of
want to?
Selectmen article.
I don't care because I assume Alan's going to get
They're
up and
gonna
make.
make,
to it.
they're still gonna make the
Yeah,
presentation.
they're gonna-
Yeah, they're going to make the presentation. They might as well make the motion as well, I guess, just to make it easier.
Well, it's Board of
Can they? 'Cause
Selectmen
it's a Board of
though.
Selectmen
Oh,
article.
all right, then I'm glad to make the motion. And if anyone's irritated about it,
We'll have a planning
about the
board
article, they can blame me.
report first on that one, right?
Okay.
This is going to require, this will require the
Yeah.
report.
Okay.
All right,
Planning board will have the report, but I did print it in the warrant, their recommendations. But they'll also, I'm assuming, Deb might get up and just let town meeting know how they voted.
Right.
And then Alan will speak to.
He can speak to the individual
actual-
points of the article.
Gotcha. Okay, so same thing for Article 15?
Yep.
Are you going to take that one too? Mark?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Mark will take 15, and that one is going to work the same way, planning board and bylaw review. And then Article 16 is the moratorium, temporary moratorium on recreational marijuana establishments until June 30th, 2019. So this is a Board of Selectmen article. I can do this one if you want.
Okay.
All right, so I'll do this one.
Did that have a planning
Yep.
board hearing too? Yep.
Yes,
So planning board report, but no bylaw review. I don't
no
think they're gonna
bylaw
speak to
review on this one.
All right. And Article 17, to approve a zoning change from agricultural residential to light manufacturing on land of Michael J. Carey Trust, being Lot 4-1-22 at number 40 County Road. So they're responsible for making the motions on this one.
Yeah, it's a citizen's petition, so they'll have to do it, and there will be a planning board report on it.
Do you think the citizen knows that they're making,
We sent them correspondence a while back, and they were fully responsible for explanation, presentation, all of that. So far, they followed through with like the abutter notifications and everything, but we'll send them a reminder of the date and time and let them know that somebody should be present to give a presentation to town meeting.
Okay. All right, so that's 17, 18, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of $13,000 to make the first payment on a police patrol vehicle on a lease-to-own replacement program. So this would be.
I'll make that, just
John?
'cause, yeah,
Because
Pat
Pat
can't, yeah,
right.
right.
All right, so John's gonna make that. 18, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of $13,000 to make.
Same there, too.
Oh, I read the same article.
Right.
All right, Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the total sum of $48,903.05 to pay the annual lease for some fire vehicles.
I'll do that.
Okay, so John will do the fire vehicles as well. All right, Article 20, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds or transfer from capital stabilization the sum of $31,000 to purchase and install a new phone system, including any necessary wiring for the Dennett Elementary School, to take any other action relative thereto. So I imagine that's going to be John Williamson or a member of the Dennett School Committee.
And the sources, free
Free
cash.
cash. Okay, perfect. All right, Article 21, to see if the town will vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaws, Section 16, sick leave, by striking said section in its entirety or replacing it with the following text or taking the other action relative thereto. That's going to be wage and personnel.
Just back to 20 for a minute. Bob, you said free cash, or?
I said free cash.
Okay, thought I heard something else.
Yeah, no, with $31,000, we have time.
Yep.
Will you let us know when we're out of free cash? All right, Article 22, to see if the town will vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaw, Section 13, vacations, a wage and personnel, so that's going to be wage and personnel again. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaw by establishing a hiring policy. That'll be wage and personnel again.
It's gonna be a long meeting.
I think it'll go pretty quick until we get to Article 25. All right, Article 24, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $15,000 for the purchase of new personal protective equipment for
I'll do
the
that.
fire department. So John will do Article 24. And then we've got Article 25, which is the, to see if the town will vote to amend Article 7 of the town's general bylaws, removal of soil, loam, sand, or gravel and fees by deleting said article in its entirety and replacing it with new Article 7 to be entitled Earth Removal in the form set below. So that would be,
Could you read the whole article, please?
okay, you ready?
Would you like some water?
All right, so who's gonna make the motion for this?
I'll do that one.
Okay, so,
Who's going to make the presentation?
You know, I'm not sure it's been discussed. I would guess that maybe it'd be Linda Letty, but we'll figure that out along
Okay.
the way. Yeah.
And my plan is to step down as moderator for that.
so
Do you
who
agree
takes
with that,
over as
Ms.
moderator?
Former Mr. Moderator, because I was involved in the
Right,
building of it and giving my professional occupation that could be construed as
Yeah,
potential conflict.
yeah, you probably should, and Tara would step in,
okay.
Unless I can find a,
unless you want to find somebody, sure.
Deputy
Like I found you.
Okay. So you would just have to get someone appointed, deputy moderator?
Yeah.
Okay,
We
so
do
you'll
that.
handle that one?
yeah,
Perfect.
Right at the start of the meeting, we'd have to do that.
okay, let's start.
Yeah, right up front.
Okay,
But if you can't find anybody, the town clerk,
Yes, yeah, she's on alert to know
Okay, yeah.
that she might, but giving her town clerk
Okay.
responsibilities, it may be better to have someone who's just dealing with
Somebody else
it.
do
Yeah.
it, she's gotta take all the notes, and if there's any
Yeah.
changes, it would be difficult to do both.
Right, because it may involve.
I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about
would
that.
Bill Slater be willing to come back?
Maybe.
Wow.
I'll call him if
Okay.
you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Let me know.
okay. All right, so that's Article 25.
Got
And
one
then
more.
Article 26 is to adjourn to the election. So I can make that one. It is the best one of the night. All right, so that's it.
Anybody left in the room?
Yeah, if there's anybody left in the room.
Great.
So it seems pretty manageable.
A couple of points. Puts this together every year, and it is just great that she does and makes it so simple. And just to say at the front of the warrant, which should be mailed shortly, the annual letter to the citizens from the FinCom is a really good letter. Thank you. It's,
I completely plagiarized it, I can take zero credit for it, but thank you.
Does that get passed on from year to year?
It does.
It's a good letter. It's
Yeah.
nice and clear.
It's in disappearing ink, and I have to heat it with, lemon juice over a toaster oven at 273 degrees for 20 minutes.
All right.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's a good letter. It hits a bunch of the questions that might come up, and I hope people read it. But please read it.
I think people do.
Oh, yeah.
The people that read the warrant read everything. So for the annual, the funding source is free cash for everything.
The 48,000 for the
Fire
fire
stuff.
equipment is capital stabilization.
Oh, capital stabilization, okay. So that's going to take a different vote? Okay.
And I'll be right there beside you, so.
So everything's a majority except, yeah.
So what one was that?
Well, and the interest on the police station, right?
Yes,
Is
yes,
also-
we haven't touched that.
Article
Yeah.
24
Article 20, yeah.
That was.
is going to be capital stabilization.
48,900.
It's like 12.
You know, it says,
She put it in her motions,
It's in the
too.
motion.
It's in the motions? Oh,
Yes.
okay, all right.
And you've got the motion.
is that the personal equipment?
It's
No,
the,
no.
to pay the lease payment for the
Oh,
pumper and all the
Gotcha, it's not
vehicles.
24. It's not 24. Okay, thank you. So it's Article 19,
Article
right?
19.
Trying to get over
Yeah,
cold.
capital stabilization.
And this, Mayor, there's 3 in the budget that we have to do too for sourcing, group, line 20, group health will use $100,000 of free cash for that. we've been using money for free cash to supplement a budget line. We always take that because it's a lot, but. And then the fire EMS salaries will be moving $200,000 from the ambulance fund to help support that in there. And then the police station debt line 825, the $235,000 for the principal interest payments on that will also come from capital stabilization. That one will need a 2/3 vote.
Okay.
So just repeat those line items again, Bob, quick. I got 825, what were the other two? Oh, okay.
He went to send it anyway.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for putting this together.
Yeah, and then I'll break them out for each department so they only have their own, that it just makes it easier for all of us if it goes smoother.
Right.
So, but yeah, those are the only two things we're using for capital stabilization. Last year, we used the $500,000 out of there for the police station. So, and there was only a little over 100,000 left, so I thought if we could use the free cash we have and save some of the capital, it would be there to build up again, so we have, if we needed it for something.
Okay.
So that's the purpose behind it.
Okay. All right.
And FinCom was fine with that
Okay.
concept. when we talked.
Is this kind of in line with what our financial policies and all of that, with the way we're spending money and, perfect. Okay, perfect. Good.
And I didn't mention as we were going through it, but all of the zoning required 2/3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Earth removal, because that's zoning as well.
And that
Is
would be the-
general?
The earth removal is going into
It's
general,
a general, so
so,
it'd be
not
simple
2/3.
majority.
Okay,
But the citizens petition would require a 2/3 majority, because that's a zoning change.
right. Okay, got it.
Perfect. Great.
And Liz, were you planning on contacting some of these people to make sure they know they were doing the motions, or last year,
Sure.
Tara, and how to handle that? I don't know what your role is going to be.
I'll work with Barbara on that, because she put together all the motions, so we can figure out who's doing what and put a little package together so that we make sure they have everything. The only one that'll be tricky is that citizens petition one. I don't know who the person is, but we did have some contact with their engineer who did the abutter notifications and everything, so we can just send a general email to them and say, this is the date and time of the meeting, show up if you want this explained. And we'll try to find out a person's name who's gonna be there so we can give it to you ahead of time, but it's one of those things, if no one shows up, can't really control it.
Right, exactly. They're not there, we just
Right.
discuss and move along.
Now, when we do the motion to let people who are from out of town, their engineer is probably gonna be an out-of-towner. Do you have to have their name?
We can, if I have to do that, if I know it ahead of time, that'll make it easier, because I'll, again, include that person in that list. If not,
Okay.
we'll just have to do it on the spot.
Okay,
Right.
It's easier, though, if we do them all at once, so,
Yeah,
even if we have the name when they walk in the room.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
okay. All right, we'll see if we can get
Yeah, we
that.
can try to connect with them.
Okay.
They were responsive when we asked them, when we told them that they were in charge of the notification and everything.
Okay.
All right, very good. Anything else on the warrant?
I don't think so.
I don't
It
think
seems
so
a little
either.
easy, doesn't it?
Oh,
Liz
knock on
did
wood.
so much work getting this squared away. It was, this is probably the easiest we've had it in quite a long time.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was very nice.
It was a team effort, and Nate came in at the last second and kind of brought everything together, and there's a lot that goes into the FinCom side of it too, that people don't think of right away when they think of the warrant, but there's all that backup info, and Barbara was super helpful.
Yeah, it is.
Just even knowing what articles are repeat and kind of standard procedure and everything, but Barbara and I spent a lot of time together on this.
And just so you know, I'm supposed to pick them up tomorrow from the printer, so we should have them in the mail, hopefully by the end of the week.
Oh, wow,
Terrific.
great.
That's very
That's
good.
great.
Great job. I know, it's so nice. This
Yeah.
is so
Good,
much,
so they'll-
a lot less stress.
I remember
Fantastic.
One year we hand delivered them, didn't we? It wasn't that long ago.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we handed them out at town meeting. Yeah.
It's a huge change.
definitely, for the better. All right, so if you have any questions, something comes up you think of, just reach out to Liz and we'll see if we can get this squared away so that we're all ready for town meeting.
While we're on town meeting, the bylaw review committee is having a lot more communications along the way to educate people. And the earth removal informal bylaw committee is having a public session a week from Thursday at
7 o'clock.
7 PM. And that'd be a great time. That's a complex issue, took a lot of work. Citizens, if you have questions before town meeting, that's absolutely the time to come and get filled in. So that's May 10th, 7 PM in this building.
Perfect, in this room?
I don't know about that. We have so many meetings going on, I think.
I mean, it'd be
we have
nice
to
if we
figure
could
that out.
videotape it for people who
Oh.
aren't able to make it.
I need to know that, though.
I would think so, too. You know, for something that complex to tape it.
You want it?
Get it up.
You okay with that?
I think Linda will be the main, this person discussing it.
All right, let me work on, let me check on
Sure,
that.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could use the screen and, yeah.
And what committee is this going to be?
What?
What committee's meeting for May 10th?
It's not a
It's not really
committee.
a
Yeah,
committee,
it's
just,
a
An
working group.
information
The
session.
informational, the
Right.
working committee?
Working group.
That's the working group.
Yep.
Yes, the working group.
Is that what you're calling yourself? Working, information working committee or information
Working group sounds better.
Working group.
Okay.
The hard working.
Now that it's all over, we're going to have a name.
Call themselves village people, but I was already taken.
Oh my gosh, kill me.
Perfect, well, you definitely want that on video.
There you go, I know the moves. I just want to make sure. To send, let them know, but I have to let Rich and
Yes, to
Dylan.
videotape,
Okay.
but it's got to be coordinated with Linda. I would make sure that they're okay with having it videotaped, that it'd be nice to have it done.
Let me check on that and I'll get back to
Oh,
you.
you're going to check on that?
How long
Okay.
does
Mark
it
will
take
check on that.
to get the video actually posted online? Because I'm just wondering if the meeting is the 10th and then town meeting is the
I think
16th.
it goes to YouTube pretty quick.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit of a stumbling block. There's some technical issues. Usually it's 3 or 4 days.
Oh, well, it might be in time for somebody to view it
so
at least once.
It might be, and maybe we can put a rush in on that.
Okay.
I'll work on that.
I notice when you call them, they seem to speed it up.
You say, please get this on. All right, so that's it for annual town meeting and special town meeting. Let's move on to update on fire department study committee.
So,
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
we met at the joint committee meeting with the Board of Selectmen of Halifax. They presented a straw proposal on how this might all come together. There is a meeting Wednesday night with the Fire Technical Committee that's been posted. The intent is to go through the recommendations, see which are the most important, and as a secondary piece of that, I'm going to present what Jason presented, PowerPoint slides, to just see where everybody's head's at in terms of that.
So this is the group that's looking at the MRI
Technical
study.
recommendations, yes.
Gotcha, okay, all right.
I've invited anybody from the other group that wants to sit
Okay.
in, or anybody from the public's welcome to sit in.
And that's this Wednesday?
Yes,
All right.
7 o'clock.
Okay, here?
It may be here because we're probably going to use the PowerPoint.
Okay. Well, yeah, it'd be nice just to
Yeah,
put the presentation
yeah.
right up there. Okay.
I think there's a number of issues that are going to come out of that, so.
Okay.
And then maybe we'll invite Jason back and Kim
Okay.
to come talk about it too, but first I'd like to go through it myself with them.
Okay.
Did you post it with Tara?
Yeah, it's posted.
All right.
All right, so anything else on the fire department study committees?
That's it?
Okay. All right, formation of a housing production plan committee. This is going to be to look at creating the regs, the 40B regs.
So this kind of comes into a little bit with one of the things I was going to update on.
Okay.
I met with Lisa Sullivan from Old
I
Colony
saw that,
Planning
looked really
Council.
nice what she put together.
Right, so what I sent you earlier today is just a very rough draft of what she was putting together. She wanted me to put extra emphasis on the word draft.
Okay.
She was planning to circulate it even to our town zoning board in draft format, but she wanted the three of you to look at it first and for us to provide her with just some very preliminary feedback. And then she wants to take it to the zoning board, and then from there, we'll obviously have either a public meeting or an information session and move down that road. But before we get too far along, we wanted input from some different people. And I think as far as putting together the committee, the timing is probably very good as far as getting that together. And then maybe the committee could kind of work with her to get the ball across the finish line with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think
What's
that
the
would be-
timeline on this?
Usually you have about a year from the time of award, so it's not like something that,
Roughly a year from now.
right,
Okay.
right. Thereabouts, like probably by the end of like next fiscal year, or usually they like to wrap stuff up sometimes sooner than that, like probably by December.
I think by the end of December, we ought to try to have it done, because I think that's.
Yeah, it's just that, you get these and this, to sit down and takes a long-
There is a lot,
to do it right.
but I think that we definitely want to have.
Are you leading the charge on this?
I can be involved in this. I was thinking Linda Letty, she's been very active, I know, in the past with trying to get this done. Deb Anderson, I know, expressed some interest in this. I think there's a
Well, I
lot
was
of
thinking,
people.
this falls under your affordability housing?
Right,
Yep.
but I think that there are people that know much more
Oh, no,
about
I
the
didn't mean,
regs
no,
than
but,
I do.
yeah, but as far as from this board?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yeah, so I can certainly be on this committee. I was thinking maybe 5 members, and we'll work with OCPC, and I think the draft looked really nice. I haven't really
Yeah, I haven't had a chance
had
to
a
look
chance
at
to
it.
dive into it, but I think
So we
that,
need a chance to dive into that and then have a conversation about it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to dive into it, and depending on the time frame, I think she was hoping to get some feedback like within the next week or two. And even if that's very informal feedback, like it's an informal draft is what she sent along. So if you even wanted to send me your feedback and I can get it to her, then she'll come up with an actual draft, which could then maybe be sent to planning board, zoning board, and again, just sort of looking for feedback type of thing.
So you want that in a week?
That'd be good. A week or
that'd be
two.
really
I mean, I
nice.
know that we have a lot of other stuff going on too. It's not like it's a huge rush to
How
get this
about after
done.
town meeting?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think that might make a little more sense.
Well, then we can take our time and not rush through it.
And as far as putting the committee together, I think that the committee itself, in the absence of having a housing partnership or a housing authority, I think that the formation of the committee is something that we might not want to rush with right now, but I think it'll be important going forward. Like, I look at that as more of a tool for the long term.
Okay.
As opposed to needing to rush to put it together just for the sake of these regulations. Because in all reality, OCPC will do a dynamite job for us, and they will obtain public input, and they'll usher us through that process. So I don't even think that the committee, if everybody has a lot going on right now between like earth removal and looking at these other properties and potential acquiring of these properties, like what we were talking about earlier tonight with the Atwood piece, for example, I'm wondering if we don't want to max too many people out. It seems like a lot of repeat
It is.
volunteers,
It's the same
and so is
people.
the same people, which is wonderful, but I'm wondering if maybe we want to resolve some of these things and then form the committee with kind of a renewed energy.
Sure, yeah.
And maybe they can be the people in place to really help Lisa get us a final document that we can implement.
Perfect. Well, I think that's a good idea too for, there needs to be town people involved to embrace this and sell this. And this is, I think this is more important than the plan, these regs, so they're super
That's going to be what we're
important.
working with.
It's what we're working with.
All the time. I had asked her one question, and just flipping through it, I saw the provision for the fee that we hold on to for, like, peer review services, and I was asking her if she thought that it was more advantageous or less to keep that in there versus doing what some towns do and just implementing like Mass General Law, Chapter 44, 53G, where you can contract out for peer review services as needed. And she felt strongly that a town of our size, given our limited staffing here, that we should very much keep that provision in there so that we have the money up front from an applicant and then can utilize it as we see fit. So,
Okay.
but that was about as far as I got into the document. I was
Okay.
just kind of thumbing through it and
Well, after we have a
asking
chance to
her
read
different
it, then,
things.
we can reach out to Concom, Planning Board, ZBA, and see if they have people that would like to be involved in
Absolutely.
reviewing this and helping us to finalize the document.
Great.
Now, this is just adopted by the Board of Selectmen, isn't it? Or is this adopted by Planning Board?
So that's where it gets different depending on each town. We would need to look through it and see who's going to be the special permit, like the granting authority. In a lot of places, it's the zoning board. So we definitely want to get their buy-in and figure out what we need to do as a town legally. If it's going to be implemented as a supplement to or included in our zoning regulations, then by right, that would be the big process under 40A and having it actually added into the bylaw. That would
Okay.
require the planning board hearing, town meeting vote,
So
and
it
all
wouldn't
that.
be
We just
until
want to make
next
sure we
year.
implement it properly, if- depending on
Okay,
who that is.
All right.
So to be determined.
all right, so we can figure that out. Perfect. All right.
Can we go back to annual town meeting?
Sure.
Just
What do you
a
have?
couple things. This came up with the Area 58 board meeting last week, and actually came up somewhere else, is we need to check with the Dennett School on whether there'll be a screen for to project a PowerPoint. This came up particularly, Alan Wheelock has one for his bylaw. Would you be willing to check on that?
Absolutely.
And I think there had been some question about a movable mic or a wireless mic, and the Area 58 people are trying to avoid the wireless mic because with so many, it creates a
We
problem.
tried that one time, but we had the Boy Scouts doing it.
Yeah.
And it just got kind of confusing, plus they left halfway through.
Yeah, and technically, it just offers an opportunity for a lot more to go wrong. So the discussion at Area 58 was probably each of us up at the big table sharing, or two of us sharing a microphone, one set up in the middle of the room where people would line up to talk.
Well, you got to get Richard in there, not the day before, but a week before, because last year, 2 years ago, we had it so whatever was being shown on the cable was on a screen up front. Because the people who are about halfway from the front, halfway down, never see who's talking unless they turn around like this. And so we had a screen. It worked well because you could just look at the screen. Last year, I told them to do the same thing and told them to come out, and they came out the day before. It never worked, so we didn't have it. So whatever you do, make sure that they go in and test it, because they have a habit of trying to do it right at the last minute.
So would you be willing to coordinate with Peter Veniti and with Rich at Area 58?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Liz, make sure you coordinate with Brian Wick, because normally the moderator in the past has done that, so just so he knows.
I'll include all of them on it, and then maybe tell them, like, can the three of you coordinate a time that works?
Yeah.
And,
We used to go out and meet with Peter and the janitor to make sure that everything was set up correctly. So I don't know if Brian would want to accompany you or not. You might ask him.
Probably.
Yeah.
just so he's happy with the arrangement and
Right.
everything, too.
Yeah.
We'll coordinate all that.
And sorry, I meant to bring it up before.
No, no
Just,
worries.
I know
It's good stuff to
Brian
get squared away.
been in touch with Peter, because Brian emailed me today about asking if I had it set up with Area 58 to be filmed.
Yeah, good.
And it's been set up.
Good.
And he said, oh, I've been speaking with Peter, so
Maybe they're all set, but we'll just make sure.
just to let
Just
you know
touch base.
that.
Okay. All right, correspondence.
So we have a few things in correspondence, and some of it we've already kind of been over.
Actually, do you have a report? Because it's
do.
missing your report. You want to do that?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So the highway superintendent position, the notification went out today. So I sent it to Mass Municipal, I sent it to Deb Anderson for publication in both papers. It's on the website, the bulk of it is actually on the website. The advertisement itself directs people to the website to obtain an employment application and to view the full job description. Because that would be much too long to publish the whole thing.
Sure.
Would cost a
And
fortune.
people are responding to you, or?
I had Michael, our IT person, yes, the responses will come to me, but I had him create an email address for us that's just human resources at town.plympton.
Good idea.
That way, nothing
Good.
will get mixed in with my personal emails, and I didn't want it all to go to Bree and make more work for her, and then have her forwarding stuff. So it'll all come to me, but to this different email address.
Great.
So how are you gonna, when are you gonna form the committee and pull them together and all that?
Well, so I have the publication running through May 24th, so people have until Thursday, the 24th, at the close of business to respond. And then sometime that following week, after the Memorial Day holiday, we'll get in here and
I
start
would suggest you
screening.
just send out a little short note, just saying that,
I
His-
sent one preliminarily, just kind of explaining
Yeah, I saw
who I
that.
was and what was
Yeah.
going to happen, and then we'll do that again and just kind of update everybody. I'm also going to send out the job posting and the job description so that they can see it ahead of time.
Great.
So that they have an idea what we're looking for. I put it on the bulletin board here, and I also sent it I put it on Facebook, and I sent it to Jim Mulcahy, so he posted it at the garage. So he said that they've already all, I guess, went and looked at it today and everything. So it's out there, and they have until May 24th to apply.
Great.
So the timeline after that, so they have
Jim's
till May
position.
24th. We'll need a committee and interviews and a decision pretty quick to...
Pretty
Resource.
quickly, like I figured that we would do the screening
But
process
human
and
resources
interviews
at
and
town
hopefully
dot
select a
whatever it is.
candidate by the end of June. So that gives us a full
Yeah,
month,
that's a good idea.
the full
Isn't-
month of June.
But isn't Jim,
He's officially done at the end of June, but he agreed to stay on through July at least to help us with transition. And for budget purposes,
Yeah.
I didn't want to max us out too much. I think on the financial end, I think some people were hoping that we could hold out for a little bit. So I was planning to have somebody in place by the end of June to take over, like,
Yeah.
roughly a July 1st start, which coincides with,
Okay.
which makes it pretty tight, because May 24th, form the committee.
well, the committee, we had already talked about, that it would just be an
Okay.
informal
Right.
group, myself, Russell Kierstead,
Barry
Pat
DiCristofano.
Dillon, Barry.
Right.
And there's one other too. I have the names in my office, but it was just an informal group so that we don't have to post meetings or anything like
But
that.
it may,
And then we have to
presumably-
come to the full board with whoever the
Yeah,
finalists
so
are.
all that stuff, presumably the person has to give at least 2 weeks, if not
Right.
4 weeks' notice.
Right.
And ideally, there's a fair amount of overlap, Jim and the new person, so it's going to be a
I
little tight.
don't know how interested Jim is in having any
May
overlap.
not be much more than a couple hours.
Yeah, I think it might be
You
an
know,
hour of
Even a
overlap.
couple hours, I mean, whatever it is.
I'm sure he'll help us in
But
any way.
Jim was on board to stick around at least through the end of July. He said he would be here until we have a suitable replacement. He's just not sure how able
I got a
he'll-
feeling though, Mike's right, it might go beyond that.
Well, it depends on what sort of notice people need to give, but I plan, as soon as we have them back, I mean, that following week, we can contact people
won't
and
take
get
long.
interviews set up. That part's not gonna take long.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry, did you say Russell, Barry, you, and,
I'd have to look at the names. It's just an informal group of people. For the animal control officer / animal inspector positions, we had received that resume from that individual who expressed interest. I do have him coming in just informally to talk with me. I was interested to hear about what training Kingston may be providing to him, as far as more so for the animal inspector piece. Otherwise, we should post the position. And I don't think, for a position like this, I don't think it needs to go on MMA or anything like that, but I think we should at least put out a notification. I was having a difficult time locating anything here in the way of a job description, so I sent something out to my counterparts in the different places, and I received responses from Halifax, Pembroke, and Abington with their job descriptions for both, and similar to us, they have the same person filling both roles. So that's something that if we post the position in the next week or so, I think we're gonna need to pretty quickly narrow down a suitable job description. And I have that on my list. I meant to check with Barbara before she left for the day earlier, just in case there's something around that I wasn't aware of, but I didn't find anything.
Okay, Tara's got something.
I think I may have seen what she had. This was something a little bit bigger than
Okay.
what I was kind of hoping for, but, so we'll move on that quickly.
And you'll post that?
Yeah, that should be a posted position.
Do you want to have that on next week's agenda? Maybe we can vote on a job description next week?
That would be good. I can send something
Yeah, do you
out.
wanna send us what you
Yeah,
got?
I'll compile.
Except we'll be missing a couple of them next week.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I won't be here Monday, but I could be here Tuesday, or
I could.
you guys could just meet on Monday and do
Oh,
it.
do it. I'm
fine with
available
you guys
Tuesday. It's up to
doing
you.
the job description.
I can take the best of all of them and put a document together and then send it out. And then if you end up meeting on the 7th, I mean,
Yeah, and I'll read it ahead of time.
I don't think it's that, I'm not that
I mean,
nervous
a lot
about
of it's
it.
MGLs. It's
I
the
think we're gonna be
laws.
fine.
Right. Yeah, so,
I'm not
figure
that
that out.
worried about, I
Whatever
mean,
you
it could
guys-
even, honestly, if it waits until the 14th, is that the next meeting when everybody's here?
Yeah.
Even if it waits until the 14th, I don't think that that's the end of the world. I mean, it's not like we're gonna do a worldwide search for the position.
No, we're
We'll,
not.
we'll post it here, we can post it online, we can put it on Facebook, and I'll send something maybe to Deb Anderson just to make sure we're covered.
okay.
But I don't think that one
No, that's
I think
not
we'll
as-
be okay.
I think we'll be okay.
We're gonna survive.
So you want that on the 5/14?
Do you want it on 5/4, or, well,
Let's do the 8th.
Are you available on the 8th?
Yeah, instead of the 7th?
All right, so let's meet on the 8th, and we'll do
I
that.
won't be.
Because
Is that a problem?
stuff
Okay,
will
I'll get
come
it to you
up
ahead of
for
time.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
the
you'll-
8th for
yeah,
Board
give
of
it to us ahead of time.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'll work on that this week. I'll put together the
So
best of
instead
all
of
of
meeting
them.
Monday, because Christine's.
So we
gonna be
won't meet on the
away.
7th.
We
then,
won't
right?
meet on the 7th, we're just gonna meet on the 8th.
Right.
Okay.
Watch
And we'll
Monday
have to
Night
let
Football.
Area
Yeah.
58 know?
Yes, because I sent them 5/7.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
what else do you have, Liz?
I also met with Old Colony Planning Council and their intern regarding our Central Complex Master Plan. They're taking a look right now at the property, the perimeter as a whole. I did turn them on to looking at the police station proposal. More so, I'm thinking that in the master plan, and this could be changed during the public process, but just on a preliminary basis, we might want it to depict a separate entrance for police. I know that got cut out of the project for financial reasons, but I think it would do us a disservice to have any kind of master plan that doesn't
I agree.
show that as an option.
That is probably the highest priority in the master plan. That's
Yes.
going to be the number one thing to get done.
And actually, that reminds me, I wanted to check, I'll check with Dan Pilata. I wanted to see if he could get us maybe in a workable format, like even if it's just one plan sheet that showed kind of
Yeah.
like the
Where it is,
specifications
yeah.
and overview for that entrance, just to make their life a little easier at OCPC. The other thing that they asked me, and I didn't want to speak on the board's behalf or anyone's behalf, but they were asking if the trailer out there has to remain part of the master plan. And I said, not in its current location. I said, we own it. It's obviously functional and being utilized, but that maybe we could look for a more suitable location that's still within close proximity to the station, but I don't think that we want that in the middle of our parking lot as part of a master plan.
The original intent was we were going to have that thing for 3 years, and then we were going to sell it for as much as we bought it for.
And I'm not I don't want to bring up anything controversial. It was just a very preliminary. There's going to be a whole public process associated with this master plan, and they're still looking at what format they want to do it in.
Well, if they're going to have to put it somewhere, put it behind the station, just.
Well,
for
that's
the
what
time
I was
being.
thinking, or like try to tuck it away, like down on the
Anywhere we
side.
can't see it, put some
But
trees.
that, I mean, that's sort of the medium term. I mean, in the long term, that can't be there.
No.
Right, and
That
that's
whole
what I
mess has
said.
to
I
be
said
straightened
not
out.
to please not include that in the master plan. I said that I felt comfortable providing that response for now, and that I would let them know if we needed to add it back in. And I said, if it is in there, it
Okay.
needs to be close to the station but out of public view.
Yeah,
It's
that thing
it's in
needs
the
to go.
way.
Should have been put up back to begin with.
It should have been put out back. But, maybe in this affordable housing segment, we could have like one room for the fire, where, that's where they live, is in this affordable housing complex that we put together, and.
It's got to be attached to the station.
Does it?
I would think so.
Not if it's right back here. They can just walk out.
In the middle of the winter and all that?
Yeah.
No.
That's not attached to the station?
It's pretty damn close.
The idea came up, I heard someone come up with the idea that we do housing for on-call fire guys as a perk to get them interested.
Oh, boy.
We can't
Okay.
even house our own senior citizens,
All right, we'll figure
one
that
of which
one
is
out.
sitting here.
Yeah. We'll figure that out.
So I completed the first round of the procurement courses. I'm still waiting for my certificate. I guess they mail it. It takes about a week or so.
You're going to show us the certificate when it comes?
Yes,
That's it.
I'll tuck it into correspondence
Perfect.
and
Yeah,
someone else can
we'll have
acknowledge.
somebody with a camera here.
And then along those same lines, there's a free workshop on Thursday, May 10th, that the state puts on that's procurement-based and just goes over people who are on their approved vendors list and that kind of thing. It's in Foxborough. So I signed up for it, but then I'm going to see if anything major comes up here and I can't be out of the office, then I'll just skip it. It's free.
Okay.
But if it seems like the schedule permits, then I'll plan to go.
Sounds good.
For correspondence, we have our official letter that our housing production plan was approved.
Yay!
All right.
Let's see. We have here a letter from Comcast regarding some of their bundle packages and new rates for all of their triple bundles and everything else. Let's see here. We received correspondence from an attorney saying that he has a client who is interested in purchasing town-owned property, Lot 14, Churchill Road, and then he provides the parcel ID.
What is the parcel ID?
Map 18, Block 4, Lot 12.
Okay, thanks.
Churchill Road?
Yeah, that's what it says here. And so we have some information from the assessor's office. It does appear that we own it. And we could definitely take a further look. The information from the assessors just came today. And I'm looking here. It looks like it was done as a tax taking
Yes.
back in the 90s. So there's somebody who's interested in purchasing it. And if you'd like, maybe we can, Bree, if you want, maybe we could scan all this information and send it to the full board and we can,
Send it to Colleen Moran too, because on tax title land,
there
We
might
have-
be certain,
we've grouped them with the idea that they all go to auction at once,
okay,
because there's a number of people who want to buy different
There are
plots
a
in
number.
town.
okay.
Yeah.
So we can pursue that.
But it'd be nice to get a policy similar to the 61A, where when properties are taken by tax title, that Concom looks at it, recreation, affordable housing, and we make sure the town doesn't have any interest in these properties before we send them to
I think,
auction.
yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Definitely.
We need
Rather
that
than
land use
just-
property.
Exactly, we need,
Yeah.
like
Definitely.
some type of policy.
Maybe we can scan all this and send it free to all those different departments.
And then it would be nice
So
to
Colleen.
get this, because there's people have been after us
I know.
forever.
Board of
I know.
Selectmen,
To get this squared away.
Colleen, we'll send it to Conservation.
I don't know if recreation really is meeting right now, but open space.
Open Space, and just kind of see if there's any interest.
So I'm not sure I'll commit to it, but that sounds like a summer project. I'd love to understand that process, and I think you're exactly right. We need policy and procedure, just like the 61A
Right.
thing we did, just so we know what we're doing and we can tell everyone else what we're
Right,
doing.
where it's not just willy-nilly that, oh, you want it, and okay, we'll sell
Right.
it to you. We
And there's a
have to-
lot of procurement behind that, too.
Yes.
That was a big
Right.
part of
It's
the
huge.
course I just took about disposition of real property, so.
Perfect, that's great.
You want Board of Selectmen, you want the Treasurer's Office, Concom, Open Space, anybody else?
I think that's good for
That's
now.
good for now.
Send it to recreation if there's somebody who's there.
Hop, I think.
You know, we can
Check
find.
with-
I'll look on that
Okay.
list and see who's in it.
So we have a letter to the Plympton Police Department from Caitlin Morey. She is resigning as a special police officer, but she expresses her thank you to the police department. And she's enjoyed working with them over the years. So good luck to her in her future
Right.
endeavors. And along those same lines, we have an appointment request from the police chief to appoint this individual, Wendella Caffrey, through June 30th as a special police officer. So that does require your vote and signature.
Okay.
There's two there.
Another one.
And also Kevin Brower.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are for you.
And there's a cover letter from Chief Dillon
Yes.
requesting that we appoint each of those people to special police officer.
The vote.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we appoint Wendella Caffrey
Caffrey.
and Kevin Brower as special police officers until June 30th, 2018. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the last thing was just the Plympton Halifax Express. They had a nice write-up on the Plympton Cleanup Day that was held on April 21st, and some great photos, and more tales of old Plympton.
And Tom
Yes, Tom Coulter will
Coulter
be
is
joining
going to be,
Kingston.
right, the Kingston Town Administrator.
Yes,
Interesting. Good for him.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that's correspondence and Liz's report. All right, so dates to remember, we're going to be meeting on 5/8, which is Tuesday at 6 PM next week. And then we'll return to Monday on the 14th, and then that will be the week of town meeting. So that will be a busy week for us.
I will just mention that the week of Memorial Day, I probably won't be available.
Okay. Will you be participating in the Memorial Day?
Yeah,
Okay, but not that week.
yeah, after that,
You'll be-
I'm going to be committed to something else.
That
We're
allowed?
closed the
Good for you.
Monday anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me, will we be meeting on 5/21,
On what?
the 21st? May 21st?
May
It's
21st?
5/8, 5/14, the town meeting on the 16th.
I assume so.
I would assume so
At
too.
5/21, we have to reorganize.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right. Absolutely. Okay, so board's goals for coming year, economic development, I don't think we've got anything under that. Financial management, it's nice to hear that we're actually using the financial policies that we've created and our CIP plan for budgeting purposes and the budget module, so that's good news. Public safety?
Just one question came up on that. They're meeting Wednesday night. They're going to meet for a while, just once a month, mainly to sign approve bills. Many of those meetings might be very brief just to pay the bills. They're wondering if in those brief meetings, if we need to have them filled. And I would like to propose that maybe we leave that at the discretion of the chair, Colleen Thompson.
Yep,
That if
absolutely.
something substantive is going to go on, she'd go ahead and have it filmed. Otherwise, no reason to waste people's time.
Okay,
That's all right.
that
with
sounds
everyone.
good.
Okay, I'll pass that on to Colleen.
All right, I got an email before the meeting started from Elise, and I asked her if she would be interested in pursuing more than just fire grants, and she said yes.
Great.
So that's
Excellent.
under grants, great news that
Yes.
Elise Lyons is interested in helping us pursue.
Following up
grants.
on that, there's actually a workshop, May 10th, and I can't remember where it is. It came across our desk. It's in an email? That's right, it is in an email. So we ought to check that. If she was, so I think it's free workshop,
Okay.
but I think it was in Plymouth?
I believe so.
Like a grant workshop?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay,
So,
All right, let's
short
find that
notice,
and
but,
get it to her.
yeah.
okay.
Can you follow that up, Bree?
Yes, do I have Elise Lyon?
I'll send you her email.
Perfect. Okay, volunteerism,
I think we're
we've
a
got
little worked out.
got a lot of people that have done an amazing job.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have such a great group of volunteers. We'd really
Unbelievable.
be in trouble without them. Amy?
I'm wondering, I was thinking of this the other day, because just a person I've been working with, you probably can get to is, it's on so many committees. Wouldn't it be kind of cool to once a year have a volunteer of the year? I don't know if it'd make the other volunteers jealous, but boy, I'd sure love to see that person that has just been on so many committees. I'd love to see her honored. I don't know.
We used to have, I think it was it was done at the old townhouse, and I'm not sure which, it wasn't a town thing, but it was either the garden club or the preservation, and they always had the volunteer of the year.
Yep.
And somehow that got kind of lost in the last year or so.
Yeah, I remember that. Remember the last two honorees?
And it went on for number of years. I mean, you can trace it back over time. But I think that's something we should talk about. I was thinking, I noticed Halifax had all yellow T-shirts for their cleanup day. With all the volunteers we have, I don't know if they should be cleanup, but we should have something so that people, have a shirt or something. So like the plant sale. Not only are the people who are serving are volunteers, but people who want to come. The parks had the same thing. You guys had T-shirts. I mean, we ought to sit down and brainstorm that sometime.
You know what we had
Nice
talked
idea.
about too, and was recognizing them at town meeting. Even if it's just having people stand up, doing
Yeah.
something to recognize
Yeah.
all of the volunteers.
Or have a big thing out here on the wall with all the volunteers, because it would be every person on every board, plus all the volunteers. It would almost be, you'd have to include other things though, like CASA, Boy Scouts, all that,
Right.
to make sure that people, because it can't just be us townies, it's gotta be.
No, you're right, it's more than
Yeah.
just that. But that's something we
That would be
definitely
nice,
need to do.
yeah.
So,
Let's figure something out.
let's not lose that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that is a
Thank
great
you.
idea. Okay, technology. Anything?
No, I don't know,
You
believe
said
anything
you've
going on.
got,
Michael's coming Thursday, so I gotta have him fix the screen and get my program
We have a lot of
reconnected.
things he's gotta sit down
And-
and talk about.
And I think he's might be looking to do the server changeover he might be looking to do that Thursday too. He was in touch with me today to get the email address set up for the applications that we can use going forward, and he did that very quickly,
Okay.
within about 5 minutes. But we just need to find out where we stand for Thursday.
I'll send you a list of things that I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Kathy downstairs needs him too.
What?
Kathy Wright needs him downstairs.
Yeah,
Some
Okay.
of her computer's going weird.
Okay.
I'll send it to you, because I don't want to slow down the meeting here. but
Okay.
That has to be fixed downstairs, it's embarrassing.
Oh, okay. So he must.
all right, so you're on it. All right, minutes, we have 4:23 and 4:25. The 4:23 were done by Bree, and the 425 were done by Mark.
I saw Mark's, I was fine with those. I think one, just a date
Yeah,
correction.
date thing, which I've fixed.
Okay, all right, so I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from 425 as written or amended?
As amended.
As amended.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And then I saw Bree's minutes too, and
I just had a few, I think it was Ken Thompson who came in instead of Art Moore and to request the...
It was Ken.
Art submitted the form, that's why I said it was.
All right, then leave
Art
it,
gave
that's
me
fine.
the request,
Right, he
and then he
filled it
showed
out.
up. So do you want me to change it, that Ken was present? Do you want me to add that?
No, that's fine,
But Art did sign it.
okay. The only thing I had was Nate Sides, FinCom Chair, reviewed and approved special town meeting warrant. I think it was an indicated Finance Commission had approved.
He did, the FinCom had
Yeah,
approved all those.
so it wasn't just,
It
so, and we voted at that time, didn't we, last week? We voted them.
We voted them at
This
the
is the special.
Halifax town meeting.
Oh, okay.
The meeting in
So-
Halifax.
Get that up there.
I think I had said something like, we are going to approve all of these.
Right.
And,
And we all said yes.
It should
Yes.
be,
we did.
just grammatic,
Okay,
okay? Other than that, that's it.
did you have any,
No?
Mark? Okay.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from 423 as amended.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, what about getting all of these on the website? What's up with that?
Time to get the.
Okay,
the-
perfect. You're working on that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, hold on, TJ.
All right, so rants and raves, you want to go first?
Sure.
Were those second both by John?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a rave, and I don't normally rave for people specifically that are in business, okay? But I'm going to give it for these people. Mike Lemieux and Jen Thompson, McDonald, I'm sorry. I assume you went to the Prospect opening? Did you get a chance to see that, Chris?
No, I did not.
The house is gorgeous. But the rave is, here we have a team of people reconditioning these old houses, most of which have some historic link to the town. They instantly become worth $300,000 to $400,000 more than what they were, at least. So you see the taxes going up, and the town is not paying a cent. And they're revitalizing these houses, and in a sense, they're revitalizing the town. And I think it's just wonderful.
Where on Prospect?
Well, it was Bill Kinsman's house, if you knew Bill Kinsman. But, well, it's next to Becky Lipton's house, I believe, or
A
almost.
couple houses down from that.
Oh, okay, all
Yeah.
right, so it's down there on Prospect. I
Yeah.
thought it might be on this end. Okay,
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
okay, all right, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and I think they already have some offers on it,
I
so.
bet they do.
Yeah,
Well, they do
it's
beautiful
neat.
work.
They do.
Terrific.
So that's my rave.
Okay. Well, my rave would be Linda Letty, about what an amazing volunteer she is. And I think that's who you were alluding to, Amy. And Linda actually was extremely instrumental in getting me off moving with that housing production plan. That's something that she had been working on for a while, but it just didn't come together. She had a notebook full of information from different seminars she had been to, and she really lit the fire that I needed to get moving with that. So Linda, then the earth removal bylaw, and she's always willing to help out in any way, and she's got to be one of the busiest people that
She's
is in
amazing.
town.
She
is
really
amazing.
is.
And a
Can I
jack
add
of all
to that?
trades.
Can I add to that, when people start to get discouraged with ridiculous politics and people not following rules, et cetera, she re-energizes and says, you know what, you gotta stay involved to make sure that you're making a difference, and she can really turn around somebody's, not mentioning any names, like a bad attitude. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had a really bad attitude, she turned me around. Because I'm like, I'm not making a difference here. And she's like, you are. And so she's really motivational too, so I wanted to add that.
Very good, perfect. Good ad.
All right, so a comment and a rave. The comment is cut from the same cloth, and almost every single word that was just used for Linda works just as well for Amy. and,
Absolutely.
So we are utterly blessed to have those two just pumping out more work than is imaginable. So my rave is, I think our meeting last Wednesday night with the Halifax Board of Selectmen. However that all turns out and what model we came to, if we're able to do any kind of shared services, a fair amount of that's going to come out of some level of trust, particularly trust between each Board of Selectmen. And I think we looked across that table to 3 people I like and 3 people I absolutely feel comfortable to work with. And I think when we get going with shared services, and particularly if we get to the point of going that way and writing documents, the more it can be based on trust and not feeling like every little legal thing has to be figured out. So I just enjoyed that meeting. I enjoyed those people, and I really hope we can make something happen together.
Me too, very good. All right, so that's it. Anything else before we adjourn? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good night.
Good night.